Trust God even when you are afraid. There was a time when the land became dry and empty, crops failed, food was scarce, families were worried, and it was a season of famine. This was not the first famine in the family story. Years before, in the days of Book of Genesis, Abraham had faced something similar. Now it was his son Isaac's turn. Isaac had a choice to make. When famine came, many people ran to Egypt because Egypt had food. It seemed like the safe place, the logical place, and the practical place. So Isaac began moving toward Gerar, where Abimelech, king of the Philistines, ruled. But then something powerful happened. God appeared to Isaac. God told him not to go down to Egypt, but to remain there, assuring him that he would be with him, bless him, give the land to him and his descendants, and fulfill the promise he had made to his father Abraham. Imagine hearing that in the middle of a famine. God was asking Isaac to stay in a place that looked dry, felt uncertain, and offered no visible solution. This is the first lesson. Sometimes obedience means staying, not running. Egypt looked safe, but safety is not always the will of God. The will of God is the safest place, even when it does not look comfortable. God reminded Isaac of his promise. He said his descendants would be as many as the stars. Through them, all nations would be blessed. Why? Because Abraham had obeyed God. Obedience brings generational blessing. So Isaac stayed in Gerar. He obeyed. But obedience in one area does not mean we will not struggle in another. When the men of Gerar saw Rebekah, Isaac's wife, they asked about her. She was very beautiful. Isaac became afraid. Fear began to speak louder than faith. Instead of saying, "She is my wife," he said, "She is my sister." Why? Because he thought, if they know she is my wife, they may kill me to take her. Isn't that how fear works? It makes us imagine the worst. It makes us forget that the same God who told us to stay can also protect us. Isaac trusted God enough to stay in Gerar, but he did not trust God enough to protect his marriage. That is the second lesson. Partial trust is still weakness. One day, King Abimelech looked out of his window and saw Isaac showing affection to Rebekah. It was clear this was not a brother and sister. This was a husband and wife. Abimelech called Isaac and said, "She is your wife. Why did you lie?" Isaac answered honestly, "I was afraid. Fear almost caused a great sin." Abimelech said someone might have taken her, and the whole nation would have been guilty. Surprisingly, it was the foreign king who acted with moral clarity. He made a public announcement. Anyone who touches this man or his wife will be put to death. Even when Isaac failed in fear, God still protected him. What does this story teach us? 1. God's instructions may not follow human logic. Egypt looked better, but God said stay. 2. God keeps his promises across generations. What he promised Abraham, he confirmed to Isaac. 3. Fear can make faithful people act unwisely. 4. Even when we fail, God can still protect and correct us. Isaac obeyed by staying. He stumbled by lying. Yet God's covenant did not change. This story reminds us that obedience is not just about big decisions like where to live. It is also about daily courage, telling the truth, trusting God with our safety, and refusing to let fear control us. Sometimes famine comes into our lives. Lack, delay, confusion, uncertainty. We may want to run to our own Egypt, our own quick solution. But God may say, "Stay. Trust me. I am with you." And when fear whispers, remember, the God who called you is able to protect you. Stay where God sends you. Trust him even when you are afraid. And remember, his promises are bigger than your present problems. If this story has blessed you, encouraged you, or taught you something new, please don't keep it to yourself. Kindly like, share, and subscribe for more simple and powerful Bible story. Let's spread God's word together and help someone grow in faith today. God bless you abundantly.